Hey y'all, welcome back to Breaking Skin, the podcast where women in tattooing share their career stories that usually stay in the studio. I'm your host, Kale Pearson, and this week we're going to be talking with Luisa. Now, before I really get into the meat of this episode, I wanted to let y'all know we did record this a few weeks ago, and a couple things have changed. Luisa's really excited to share that she is moving studios to Electric Ab Tattoo, still in Austin. She will be there Sunday through Wednesday by appointment only, but I just wanted to let everyone know before they got to know and love her. During this episode, we talk about a lot. What I really enjoyed chatting with her about was our apprenticeship experiences and having that feeling of wanting to carry on the tradition of tattooing and learning the things that really keep this industry at its core alive. The storytelling, the machine building, and all these little bits and pieces that over time seem to be becoming less common. We also get to talk about gratitude and just feeling really grateful for the work that we do and the people we do it with. I could talk about this all day, but I think that she is going to explain it a lot better. So here is my conversation with Luisa. Cheers. Luisa, thank you for chatting with me and hanging out with me today. I know this is our first time talking, but I'm really excited to hear your background in tattooing.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Yay! Okay,
Yeah.
well first, you're in Austin. How long have you been tattooing? What year did you get started? Just kind of share with me what your intro into the industry was like.
Yeah, I mean, I started tattooing in 2018. Officially no longer, I mean, you're always an apprentice, but started making money tattooing in 2019 officially. But been tattooing since around that time. Always been in Austin. I've loved just watching everything grow, myself growing with the city and everything. It's been great. Yeah. And
That's awesome.
yeah, I apprenticed here in town as well. I did a traditional apprenticeship for about a year or so, a year and a half. It was yeah, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. Um
Yeah, what was that like for you getting your apprenticeship and getting started? Like, did you have to go around a lot of shops and look for a long time?
I feel like tattooing found me. Had a very lucky experience of I had gotten tattooed at such great shops, so I kind of grew an understanding of where to go and the people to look for, and then started asking questions. As I started getting older, I got tattooed for maybe 9 years or so before I was like, "Hey, so what's going on with tattooing?" I met my husband, now husband, Zach Gonzalez, who worked up here in Austin. And I was like, well, I'm kind of just a lost soul. I did college, tried out college, that whole thing, worked a lot of jobs, always had creative outlets and side gigs with creative stuff. And then one day I was just at the shop getting tattooed, and I'm like, you know what? What about tattooing? And something just clicks, you know? You kinda know how it
Yeah, for
goes. It just
sure.
clicks. And, yeah, it was
Never
a
look
very
back.
awesome experience. I was approached by the tattooers there at the shop, and they were like, "Well, what do you think about tattooing?" I'm like, me, like, I don't know, I'm just some girl that, I was born in Mexico, some random girl from the barrio, nobody's like, whatever, I guess, sure. And it's been a great experience. Good and bad, it's all
Yeah.
helped with the growth, you know? It's been amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Were you with your husband when you started tattooing, or did you guys kind of meet through that?
So, we actually met before. I was friends with one of his friends and then, a lot of his old coworkers, and then, we were bound to meet, and it was, yeah, we just kinda started kicking it. I started getting tattooed at his shop, and it has been a little crazy because, I started dating him and soon after I was the apprentice, and it's like, ah,
So
navigating
he was
2
working in the shop
whole.
you were apprenticing at the same time.
Yes. He was not my mentor, however, he still helped out a lot. Oh my goodness. I know a lot of my traditional background comes from his teachings and everything. Um
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been great. I was very lucky. I worked with so many tattooers of different styles. So right away, Oh my goodness, it was so healthy for my art, just developing all these techniques and seeing things where I mean, granted, I grew up getting tattooed at shops like Black Dagger and
Mhm.
Classic Tattoo and all these amazing traditional shops. And I've always been a tratty baddie, always
Mm.
been stuck with it, but I love it. I love it so much. But when I found out that you could do other stuff like fine line and all those other styles, I don't know. Something just exploded in my brain, and it's like, hold on, there's something to this. And yeah, I got to learn from a lot of different artists. Got to learn realism, got to learn some neo-traditional from my homie Leo. Got to learn some awesome traditional stuff from the owners of the shop, as well as like my husband Zach, all my friends. I was very embraced by the tattoo community when I first stepped in, and I'm so grateful for it. So
It really did
grateful.
find you. It was like, "Listen, we've been waiting."
Yeah, it was kind of crazy, I went to school for psychology and spent 6 years in San Marcos, trying to do the thing, and it
Mm.
just never worked out, and
For sure.
that's just
Do you feel like you
how it
used
goes.
your psychology education in tattooing ever?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that kinda gave me a different level of I almost, like, too much empathy sometimes, like, not the sympathy more,
Sure.
both of them at the same time. You'd learn to relate a lot to people, so it's definitely if you have a hard time, you know, clicking with people, communicating, taking even, like, small courses of psychology will help you kind of understand where these type of things are coming from in people's brains, just so you're not assuming everybody's an absolute asshole, and everybody can have a bad day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So how long was your apprenticeship journey and kinda like how was that?
So I apprenticed for about a year and a half or so, at a shop that's up here in North Austin. It was pretty It was awesome, but at the same time, it was a lot of work. I worked 2 jobs at the same time, so it was just, just supporting tattooing. I got very lucky that, the things I paid for were, like, food and, just basic necessities and stuff to be an apprentice, but I wasn't charged like how some people go to, like, tattoo school and all these crazy things, which, I mean, no shade, but it's always better when someone teaches you, like, in person as well, It's great. I definitely appreciated the hands-on help, and, it was great. My apprenticeship was good. I Towards the end of it, I just kinda everything just made sense, and I'm like, "Okay, cool." Now, not necessarily the tattooing, like, part, that didn't click until years later, but, getting a
It was just
grasp of
time to go.
everything.
It's time
Yeah.
to
Yes, absolutely, and the people I was meeting were wonderful, and I think something that always has amazed me about tattooing is that you kind of take a little bit of people's energy and they take yours with them as well. And it's a beautiful thing. I don't know. I fell in love with the energy exchange right away, with my first tattoo. Um, but during the apprenticeship, it was a little tough, I apprenticed right after the 2016 election, so there's a lot of weird political talk, a lot of weird political talk. Um, Made some
between, like,
stuff
clients or, like, in the shop?
everybody involved, everybody involved. Unfortunately, there is such a thing as, like, you do have to set some boundaries with that because yeah, absolutely,
In
right? It's
Texas,
crazy.
absolutely.
So, yeah, and, I worked at a shop where for, 5 years where that wasn't really too much of the case. Um,
Mhm.
the political stuff can get mixed in and kind of ruin the whole experience,
Mm.
obviously. Obviously, you wanna also respect human beings. Don't get me started on that route,
I
but
know, I was like, we're just at the surface, we're not
I
even
love
there.
people. I love people so much. So I just try to see the good in people as, all of us should. Um, but while being an apprentice, it was pretty tough. I've had a lot of interactions where it was like, "Oh, like you're just the counter girl, like where's the tattooer?" type of situation. That just kind of happens to us. no, we're still making that change, and unless you're dressed in, like, a business suit tattooing or something, like, right? Isn't that silly? Like, I show up in a t-shirt or tank or however I'm comfortable tattooing for the day, and, I mean,
Yeah. Like how the boys do.
yes, exactly, how the boys do, exactly, so, uh,
It's really such the same thing. Okay, so you started your apprenticeship in 2019, you're in it for, like, a year and a
18.
half.
Yes, yes.
2018, so then about, like, mid-2019, we're taking clients. Were you at the same studio that you apprenticed at?
Yes, I was there for 5 years before I moved to my now shop, Great Wave, and that
Gotcha.
was in 2022. Yeah, it's been oh my goodness, yeah, it's been phenomenal. One thing was I did gain a lot of experience apprenticing at a street shop.
Oh, yeah,
And
for
that
sure.
yeah, that helped me develop a lot of understanding of different styles, different walk-ins that come in, and just picking up speed. I'm still slow, but not as slow as I once was, so
It's okay to
luckily
take your time.
yeah, exactly, yeah, there's sessions for a reason. But yeah, no, overall it was pretty great. I'd say the only times I ever felt, North Austin, you have a mixture of people. You have here in town, it's like really crazy. Luckily, Austin's a little bit of a safe haven, but everywhere
Sure.
else is mad, mad, crazy. Um, so I did have some weird, people ask me like about political affiliation, just weird shit where it's like,
You get
dude,
asked this a lot?
well, back then when I was working in
Okay.
that area, like, that's just kind of like what people do. It's a very pigeonholed section,
Were you outside of the
Lakeway.
city?
No, it's just next to like Lakeway, like all that area. There's a lot of open land, and I don't know what
Kind
other
of getting
stuff, but
into the Cedar Parkish.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Not my favorite area. But I grew up there, so it's like I'm over it. I just last thing I want to do is be in an area where it feels very exclusive to certain groups of people. So getting out of
Yeah.
there felt so healthy. So great.
It changes your client base, it changes how you're treated and how your artwork is gonna
It
come
truly
out.
does. It's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, overall, my apprenticeship was a good experience. It was tough, there were some things where it's like, cool, not and it wasn't too tough. At most, like I'm cleaning the parking lot, I'm dressing a certain way, or I'm doing certain things, just normal casual things. But also like
Sure.
I'm Mexican. I grew up with like parents where they just kind of like bully you just as you're a kid, and it's like, whatever, like, whatever. It's almost like a boost. So I'm not gonna lie, finding the medium of like, okay, I'm not being taken advantage of, but at the same time, like, oh, they're just playing around. That's still like,
That's healthy. That's best case scenario, I feel, with an
yeah,
apprenticeship. I think a little bit of play is, like,
a little bit of
keeps
play. There you go.
the
Well,
keeps the
you
tattoo
gotta be able
spirit
to bond,
alive.
Yeah, you're still
You gotta
kicking it.
be
They're still your
silly, like, it's you still have to
yeah.
do, it that's what creates, like, relationships and memories that you get to be like, "When I was an apprentice, I
Yeah,
had
well,
da
I
da
was
da
going for
da da da."
here's the dumb shit that I got into. Oh my goodness.
At least it wasn't dangerous. Sometimes
It was
I'm
not,
with
no.
people who are old, and I'm like, "Y'all were throwing bricks at each other," and I'm like, "That's
No.
dangerous. You
No,
can't."
I've watched tattooers throw needles at each other, so that's just the nature of things.
Yeah.
It's like
I just worked with a
ugh.
guy who said that they would tape the needles on the bar to, drones or, like, to those little flying helicopter toys and fly them at each other.
Oh my god.
And I'm like, "These are the stories we're missing, but we don't have the apprenticeships."
Yes, right? Dude, oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that's pretty
Silly
great.
stuff. Okay. So then in your why for tattooing, I guess it was, like you mentioned, the human connection and
Mhm.
then also the art is what drew you to it, and it kinda, like, called you a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I have crazy ADHD, as you can tell from this conversation. I just go in so many different, ways. And so my brain's constantly like, oh, what about this? What about that? What about that? And I didn't know that I was partaking in tattooing a little bit before tattooing, where I'm like, oh, I have this idea. Let me draw it down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, cool. So naturally it became normal for me to have these different routines like, okay, cool. I'm going to draw this tonight and I'm going to draw this tonight. And I created a process that I've never had a process before. This is the first time that I feel like I can be like streamlined in a job to a certain extent, where I'm
Mm.
also being able to like, create something. So there's so much joy to that, man. Like it's been so nice to be able to ah, exist without worrying about comparing yourself to the standard of other people in the same corporation or whatever you're working at, and constantly being told, hey, the way you're doing things isn't normal. This isn't correct. This is the correct structure. And it's like, well, that structure doesn't fucking work for me. So I can't work here.
Definitely.
And
That's kind of the beauty of the tattoo industry is I think we all understand that our processes are very different
very
in how
different.
we
Yeah.
work. How we
Hmm.
work, how we book, how we draw, how we structure our weeks.
Yeah,
And we're all just
absolutely.
like, "Okay, dude. Where for you?"
It's awesome. Yeah, it's so awesome that a career like this can help people that are just constantly, I live with brain fog. That's just like the reality of life. It's just ADHD. I know ADD people, I have coworkers with it. I have coworkers with autism that also have like issues where it's like, well, this job just works for us. And
Definitely. I
yeah.
totally understand. Well, while we're on the topic, since that's something that I know that you wanna share more about and talk about your
Mhm.
experience with, I'm excited to hear more about. So, through your experience, how have you seen tattooing give opportunities to people who are neurodivergent or don't fit in that corporate lifestyle or aren't trying to compare themselves in the office to the person sitting next to them?
Oh man. Well, it's so important for neurodivergent people to understand themselves for sure.
Mhm.
I didn't understand I had learning disabilities until I got to college. And then after having nothing but coaches as your history teachers in Texas and, people that don't really take those classes very seriously,
Yeah.
I was like, none of this makes any sense. Like, I can't work this way. And there's no hands on anything. And so, I mean, people with ADHD, a lot of us, what happens is you have to kind of work with your senses. And this job, like tattooing, has just given me this opportunity to be like a creator at my full extent. I worked with ceramics before, I've worked with charcoal, I've worked with a lot of different mediums, but this, a lot of your senses are there. And a lot of people that have any type of disability or neurodivergence, it's like, well, it's better to work where your senses are more, in touch with what you're doing. That's where, like, oh, my full attention is involved because I'm able to hear what's going on. I'm able to see what's going on. I can touch this. I can feel this. I know I have this control of the senses that just, everything just clicks. Um,
Yeah.
and it's so healing. It's so healing to do things that feel correct when
Yeah.
your whole life you've been told this isn't the correct way to do it. So
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
like, "I'm good at this, and I
I
enjoy it, and I can
know.
make it work."
Dude, I was always like the last person in the testing and like I thought I was smart and then it turns out I'm just a smart ass and it's like, okay, cool. Like,
And you
I
probably were smart all along, it's just that method of testing didn't fit you.
Yeah, no, standardized testing is awful. I can't believe that we are still dealing with that. My God. It's just it
Yeah.
hinders so many people's from true opportunities and ugh, fitting a mold, it just isn't it. It isn't it.
Definitely. Have
Yeah.
you heard or seen, like, any conversation within the industry as a whole, like, outside of your experience talking about neurodivergency?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like more and more people are realizing they're on the autism spectrum as well as they're just not as, I don't wanna call it sane,
Yeah.
but not have any issues at all, and it's like, "Oh, you know what? I'm part of this group of people," and that's so great. I feel like the internet, while it's been such an evil tool, it's also been pretty helpful with a lot of us, like, kind of figuring ourselves out and why we do the things we do and help each other, and it's like, "Okay, like, this is why you're doing the things you do and this is why it works." As opposed to, maybe in the 80s, 90s where people just kind of thought, oh, I'm a fucker. I'm just going to do drugs and I'm just going to, you know, maybe tattooing
Figure
isn't
it
for
out.
me, ended up falling into some bad shit, maybe
Yeah.
return to tattooing. So having that understanding is just it's been awesome. I have a lot of friends in the industry that are on the same kind of situation, people with ADHD, several friends with autism, several friends where it's like, well, I mean, I know quite a few tattooers with the oppositional situation where it's
Gotcha,
like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, like I'm not gonna fucking listen to you. You can't fucking tell me what to do, and it's just how they are, It's just a
Yeah,
thing.
and they found something that works, like, for that personality, you know? What are
Yeah.
some things as a person with ADHD that kind of help you, I guess tips for people, anyone who'd be listening or
Mhm.
anybody else to help you, like, kinda stay on track or, be successful in tattooing?
Write things down. Write things down. Draw on paper as much as you can. Getting your senses involved is so important. Like, I've watched my art grow so much. Just like simply, I've been just putting the iPad down half the time. Like, you know what?
Mm,
Let's draw on paper. Let's take a
yeah.
moment. Let's go ahead and just study and do things that study anatomy. Work on that for a little bit, but keep yourself involved. Keep yourself interested because I mean, obviously your attention's always in a million different ways, different paths, but if you keep yourself interested by just keeping on learning, you realize you're falling more and more in love with it. And this hyperfixation is truly just like, it's just love. Like you just fall in love with it all 100%. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I think it's good. Do you practice any other, like, forms of art or, like, what do you
Yeah, yeah,
outside
yeah.
tattooing, what kinda art do you do?
So I'm mainly a charcoal artist outside of tattooing, so I work with a lot of like just wet and willow charcoal, uh just several little things where it's like black sorry, metalwork, metalwork, woodwork, all those type of little things, just trades that you learn throughout your life as an artist. I think I've been an artist my whole life. I don't know how not to create. If I'm not making things, I'm, like, severely depressed. That's why college didn't work out for me. It's
Mhm.
just one of those things where it's just nothing felt right. But yeah,
No, yeah,
if you just keep on practicing, keep on adding on to your skill set, you realize that you truly have this power and you have control over this once you kind of get the ins and outs of what you're doing. Fantastic. Time, definitely time yourself.
oh, yeah, walking.
That will do so much work for you. Setting timers, setting time between 2 and 3, I'm gonna be doing this, between 4 and 5, I'm gonna be doing this, I'm gonna take a break between this time. Because a lot of people with ADHD, they plan. They plan a lot, whether you realize it or not. They are planning constantly and then you forget. So you have to keep on laying all those things on you. I
I
mean,
feel
you
like I'm
have to
taking
keep
notes right now. I'm like, this is I'm learning. I'm like,
Dude, it's
"Oh,
been
so
7
how would
years,
you say you do that?"
7 years of tattooing has just created, like, this monster in me. I'm like, it's
No,
just okay,
it
like
teaches you and
yeah,
there are tricks that people maybe in their apprenticeship now that are
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
need
don't
tips
don't
on
be
how to
scared to, like,
work.
keep I mean, dude, I keep, like, journals where it's like, I have notebooks and, a bunch of different, things that I'm, like, constantly writing in, and it's like, "Okay, for this appointment, so and so," and you gotta have all your notes everywhere. Don't be scared of that. At the end of the day, you're doing this big work for somebody. You're making this for somebody. So there's no like, oh, I gotta memorize this right away. No, I got it. Just take your
Definitely.
tracings, get all the info. Don't be afraid to be like, hey, I'm gonna write all of this down because I'm chances are I'm gonna forget later
Yeah,
and that's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and just have everything written down. I might give you a call if I need more information. All my clients know that I'm like my regular clients know that if I have any questions, I'll just reach out and they kind of understand the person I am at this point. But I'm,
definitely.
yeah, I'm very grateful for those people. I feel like I've had clients since I started tattooing and I feel so grateful. It's been wonderful.
You really connect with 'em. I love that. Yes, the clients I feel like make the world go round.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
question I have for you is within the industry, there's been a lot of change. And over 7 years, I'm sure you've seen that, especially
Yeah.
in a city that's so fast paced like Austin. how do you feel like you've seen doors open in a matter of diversity and inclusivity as an artist?
Oh my god, it's been so amazing. I mean, I feel like in tattooing, you almost have to be outside of that, like, corporate world and understand that going in. We're pirates, man. We're like, we're not like a regular worker. We gotta hustle a little different, we work a little different, and so a lot of people are coming in that truly never fit into that world, and it's awesome that we can have those people, like, function as normal human beings in this world.
Mhm,
At the same time, the beauty of being able to practice your craft everywhere you go. I mean, we have guest artists that come from all over the world. We have guest artists from España, from Mexico, from Germany, from Australia, and they'll come and hang out at our shop, and it's just so beautiful, man. Like, you don't need no social security number or anything to like be a tattooer. You just need fucking talent. Just raw talent, just give me talent, give me passion, and just have respect for the client. And
mhm.
then you can be okay. Um, yeah, I've met a lot of tattooers where it's like, dude, this is all I know how to do. I've never had like another job. This is my
Yeah,
my life. And I think that's amazing. I wasn't
yeah.
that lucky. I had to work in corporate settings for a good 10 years before tattooing found me, but it gave me another layer of like sympathy for people as well.
Yeah, definitely. How do you feel like as a woman in the industry, your lens has kinda, like, shaped the way you see it or what your experience is?
Dude, I feel like I've had a pretty good experience. I mean, I grew up with dudes, so I know how to stand my ground. And I
Mhm.
know when people, are testing your boundaries, you also, set them. And it's like, whoa, this isn't okay. At the same time, it can get pretty scary. I've had a situation where, like apprentices asking you, like, dude apprentices, like, so like, what do you do whenever you like get a boner? And it's like, whoa, hold up. That is so
Someone asked
inappropriate.
you that?
Yes, dude. I mean,
Oh my
granted,
god.
yes.
Yeah.
Repercussions were, they were there and things happened where, okay, he was let go of for that moment. I don't know if he ever came back. It's fine. Whatever. I don't care. But it's like, okay, like this isn't okay. We shouldn't be asking women these type of questions. This is so strange. Um,
No, that makes me wonder what you're gonna say to a client when no one's around if you're gonna say that to your superior.
Thank you. And that is why we have to like, stop these people from truly getting into the actual world of tattooing. But it's also been really awesome to be able to empower other women. I mean, I didn't know I had that power as a female tattooer until I started tattooing a lot of like younger gals that were, you know, younger kiddos in general, like under 21, that are now so lost from the pandemic and everything that's happened. And I feel like the internet has given people another layer of shame and like, I don't know, this comparing themselves to what this weird internet standard is. And it's like, hold up, like just be yourself. And these girls will be like, man, I think you're so cool. And I'm like, dude, I'm just a nerd. Like, I'm just some
I'm
nerd. Like,
I'm just a girl
I'm just a girl,
working,
you
making
know?
art. Yeah.
And so I need people to like I don't need people, but it's always beautiful to see people just grow and they come into the chair and then they leave with this feeling like, hell yeah, I'm gonna take on the world. And that's all I want from my work. I just want my work to just kind of help people. I want to heal.
Yeah.
This job has healed me. So why not heal people with it? Um,
Yeah.
because it's amazing to see other women be comfortable in their skin, and just over time as when you have those clients, they come in and they're a different person after 6 months of tattooing them. Just like these 3 4 pieces that I've done on them has changed the way they look at their skin.
How they
And
carry themselves, yeah.
yes, it's so beautiful, and it's like, really, like, oh my goodness, thank you for letting me be a part of that. Like,
I know. At the end when especially, like, if they start to get emotional, I'm like, "Don't you do
I
that to
I get
me."
emotional too. It's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
come on."
You're gonna make me look not
Yeah.
like a badass real quick. I'm not gonna be hard anymore. I'm
Yes.
gonna cry in the studio with you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm like,
which is
"Man."
special.
Yes, it is, yes, it is. Oh, I'm not
It's a cool
scared
bond
to
that we
be
get to
soft at all, yeah.
yeah,
My
you're like, "And
emotions
then
are
I'm
always all
here."
over the place, yeah, it's like, "Why
Yeah,
you're at my shop, dude, you can be whatever you want, you can
definitely.
express yourself, you can cry all you want, it's fine."
Which I
I
think
work
is
at a
important
magical
for
place.
clients to know because I think that sometimes going to, like, a more traditional shop,
Mhm.
female clients can feel intimidated or like they can't be
Yes.
expressive or themselves, and I think it's important for them to know that it's okay.
Yeah, and, I didn't really oh, man, it's crazy. So I work at Great Wave, obviously. I am the only female tattooer there. And I didn't know how much that could impact a shop, like where they're like, oh, well, I didn't see that there was a girl tattooer there, but now you're here. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. That didn't bother me growing up just because I grew up around dudes, like I said, and I've been tattooed by
Yeah.
plenty of men and women. And but I know for a lot of women, they see that and they get uncomfortable and they think, oh my God, well, my shop has more of a traditional look. So they see it and they're like, oh,
Ah,
what is all of this? What Sailor Jerry? Oh man, and like, oh man, is that Bob Shaw's art on the wall? Like, that looks really scary. And it's like, dude, like, I've got you. Let me introduce you to
yeah,
the world. So just,
and it probably is, like I think a lot of women, when they're 18, they get a new tattoo, and they go to a walk-in
mhm,
shop, and then it looks this certain way, and then something happens. Like, they are made to feel
yeah,
uncomfortable in some sort of way. So then when they go into another shop, and it's like, "This feels and looks the same as what I experienced then," to be like, "Oh, thank God we're safe." Like, "There's a woman in here, and I'm gonna be okay." Like, I just need a girl. I need my girls right now.
yeah. I've yeah. I feel like I've kinda gathered that from what they've been saying as well. And it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the
It is
reality.
sad.
We're still changing the industry, and more and more women
Definitely.
are getting tattooed now. I don't know if you've been seeing,
Getting
like, it's like
tattooed.
more women are tattooed now than men. It's crazy. It's awesome.
We're feeling empowered, which is great. As
Yes.
the industry continues to grow and these doors are opening and things are shifting, what does this mean for clients or what can they come to expect in their tattoo experience from us?
I mean, we gotta also help them figure out their, expectations. So I think
Mhm.
it's important. Like back in the day, there was like a mystery where it's like, I'm going to this tattooer. I don't know what they're like, but I'll figure it out. And they're kind of scary. And, I guess I'll ask. And I feel intimidated to move the stencil. And it's like, no, I think the transparency of like people, so people can see who you are is important. It's a human connection. It's an energy transfer at the end of the day.
Mm.
It's kind of like therapy in a way, people will say that. No, it really is. So,
Yeah,
you can definitely make it that. It's a transformative thing. So people should also kind of have more understanding for us as artists a little bit. I feel like these days we have the tendency to become, just replicators every now and then for some people where they're like, no, like this is exactly what I want, whatever. Make sure that the things you are creating, the art you're putting out there is art that you yourself are comfortable with. So if you can't give a client 100% of yourself with the piece, what's the point? you know? So also setting expectations where before like when you meet a client, show them your portfolio. It's like, hey, here's what I tattoo like. Unless you're comfortable with doing like every style and you're an ink master or whatever, like fuck yeah, good for you. That's awesome. I have a little bit of a harder time with like color realism. So I'm like, here's my portfolio and here's what you can expect. And I feel like we're doing a better job now these days at letting people know, how we tattoo and, letting them know, hey, here's the FAQ to this before getting started. And here's what you're going to expect and the boundaries. And Sorry, my cat.
It's okay, it's okay.
We recently got a kitten out of nowhere. I got a call and they're like, "Hey, there's a kitten here. We think it's perfect for you." And now I have this kitten that's adorable but rambunctious.
Totally okay. Half the
Ugh,
time if my dog's in the room, she's like, like, trying to get in my
yeah,
lap.
yeah, no,
It's rough.
uh, yeah, no, my dog's locked up over there because she'll be a mess.
No, no, you're totally good. I think you're right, in that we as tattoo artists should be more informative of what our expectations are and what we
For
can
sure.
create and what we want to create more than just what we can do. I think that's something that maybe it's locational. I feel like because we're in a city, we get to do that. We
Mhm.
have a big client base where like people who live in rural Virginia, maybe
Ugh,
like
yeah,
you have to tattoo what you can tattoo because you just need to make money. And we're now living somewhere where one, like being informative is going to attract clients and make them because it makes them more comfortable.
mhm,
Two, you're getting to put your heart into it, which grows your art, which
mhm.
helps you not be so burnt out so quickly. It makes the quality in the end better. It does a lot of
Yes, it
things, but I feel
does.
very lucky that we like have the opportunity to even be selective in our style
Mhm.
at all.
Yeah, no,
Because
I
there are
agree.
people who are like, I asked for color realism and I got this illustrative piece. And
Yep.
it's because the artist was like, this is what I can do, and also I need the money.
Yeah, yeah. And they just go with it, and it's like, "Ah, well, I'm not happy with this piece now. Laser time. Oh boy,
Yeah.
does that hurt." Uh,
It's expensive, it's long, it hurts, and
it's the
then
worst.
the client because the artist is being like, "I'm just trying to, like, make you comfortable and, like, this is what I can do," and then the client is so uncomfortable in saying that, "This isn't what I asked for," that they're just like,
Mhm.
"Okay," and then they get it, and then that's where we get cover-ups and
Yeah.
loser.
And it's our job to also be like, "Okay, yeah, like, I'm putting a stop to this right this second. I can't give you this." And if they
Mhm.
truly, truly want that, it's like, "Okay, well, here's my recommendation." Um And yeah, like you're saying, we are very lucky we live in the city, so I can like recommend somebody to like, oh, I have this realism project. It's like, oh, well, that's not really my jam. But if you want to go to like, Faces in the Dark, or if you want to go to Aura 4 in Austin, or, all these shops nearby, they do great realism. I'm
Yeah, I
glad that,
know. My realism recommendation girl is moving to Dallas, so I'm like, I need a new girl to, like, send my people to when they want realism.
yeah, yeah.
It's cool. Then we have
Oh,
friends like
Jamie.
Jamie Mayhead.
Hell yeah,
Yeah.
dude, yeah. Oh, she's so talented. Oh
I
my
know,
goodness.
I don't even
Her
know her
husband did
personally,
like
but
so many of my tattoos growing up, dude. I actually learned from Eric a little bit. He's fantastic, but I
they
got
both are
tattooed.
so
They're
good. So,
so
like
good. It's amazing. I see them as like, oh my god, it's like, yay, like look at them and their tattoo life. It's so great. I work with
yeah, I
another
know.
my coworker James, his girlfriend also tattoos, and it's just so fun to have these couple like powerhouses. It's awesome. So
Yeah. Would you say you
awesome.
and your husband do similar styles?
No,
No,
actually,
very
what's
different?
crazy is my little Gemini brain, right? I always see something and I'm like, oh, what's the opposite of that? So
Mhm.
I I grew up with like his traditional, obviously. We've been together for 8 years. So the traditional stuff, I've just seen his stuff. It's been, while it influences my art a little bit, it's also like, okay, cool. Like, this is your thing. And we're creating this like bubble of like, his skill set and my skill set. Cause it's so cool when we go to conventions and I can have like, my clients come get some fine line and then his guys can get some traditional and then it's really awesome. It's really
No,
awesome
that
mixing the 2
well-roundedness
things.
I feel like this happens a lot with tattoo couples because 'cause I've
Yeah.
interviewed a personal friend of mine who was originally from Lubbock, also tattooed in Dallas, now they're in the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah.
and her husband does black and gray realism, and then she can kinda do, like, the fine line, the illustrative, all those other pieces,
Mhm.
but it makes it so, like, what you need, they got it, and I love to see that. It's
Yes.
very cool, to, like, see them grow together, and it really helps their relationship from what she's shared. She's like, "I just don't think I could be with anyone else who doesn't understand what this is like."
Yeah. Yep, yep. Yeah, and the competitiveness as well. Like I'm not a crazy competitive person. I'm more of a supportive person. and I love cheering him on. Oh my goodness, I think his art's
Yes.
so amazing. But I
You have
can't
to when you're a
imagine.
couple.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I can't imagine being a super competitive person dating another tattooer that's super competitive. That's kinda wild. So,
I feel like that would just tear the relationship apart. That's, like, too much bad energy.
yeah, it is. It is, absolutely.
In friendships too, like, having friends with being friends with other tattooers, I feel like you have to, like, want to see each other win to, like,
It's so awesome,
have
I'll
something
go to
happen.
we get invited to an art show from a shop that's mainly realism every now and then, and we'll go, and it's just it truly is something where you're exposed to all these different types of art, and it can
Yeah.
create some, like, better things in your techniques, man, like, had I not worked with these realism artists, my gray wash wouldn't be the way it is now, that it heals the way it does, and I'm grateful for it. And had I not worked with like the wonderful Maggie Hughes, I wouldn't know like the dot work that I do now. And I there's so many people that while they don't tattoo the way I tattoo, it's given me like a adding on to the skill set. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. We have I don't know how familiar you are with No Good, but we have a lot of guests that come through from lots
I've
of places.
noticed, it's awesome, yeah. I'm
It's
getting more familiar with
easy.
No Good, it's pretty great.
Yeah, it's like we have pretty much all women, but we have tattoo artist draw nights, so I'll have to invite you guys because it's like it's just tattoo artists. That's why it's not advertised because
Mhm.
like, the general public doesn't come,
Yeah.
but they like people, like, bring beers, and we order de nata tacos and
Oh, hell
sit
yeah, that's
and, like, draw
awesome.
flash. It's usually drawing flash or, like, creating social media or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be fun, I'd love to
It's so
go. Heck
fun. It's a
yeah.
cute shop too. It is not giving normal tattoo shop, which is interesting because I also was raised in a traditional apprenticeship and, when I moved there, I really struggled to, like, transition with that energy shift.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause it's like this room behind me, it's white and bright and colorful, and I came from, like, dad rock.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
So it's
Yeah!
like a totally different vibe, and it was hard on the tattooing part, but
Yeah.
it's okay now, I've been there for a while, so
I mean, at the end of the day,
sweet.
I feel like a lot of that in that look, it's almost like a shell, like a what's the word for it? Like it's protecting you. It adds a toughness to it, And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so a lot of the shops that do have that look tend to be a little less inviting because of it.
Mhm.
So, yeah, unless you know what you're looking for. If you're cool
I
with
think
that,
that's why people go there. It's, like, very soft,
Yeah.
I guess would be the word I
It's
could use for the
welcoming, it is,
It
and
is,
there's a
it's
nice
fun.
balance. I mean, you don't also have to make it look like a sterilized museum. It's also like, "No,
No,
you
there's,
guys have
like,
a
stencils
classy shop. It's
everywhere.
pretty." Yeah, it's
There's a
pretty.
lot of shit in there.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a really positive outlook on the industry, like, supporting your clients and your partner and, like, not being competitive. What do you think that we as women can do as we continue to try to make this industry better in keeping our heads up and being positive and supporting each other?
Dude, we gotta keep uplifting each other. When you see a tattooer, a female tattooer, or, any tattooer that identifies as female that is, like, trying their absolute hardest, and you
Mhm.
see that they have that potential, share some tricks, help them out. Help them out. Don't be a gatekeeping asshole about it either. Because when you see the correct people that are in this industry and they're growing, and you see that, don't feel that jealousy. At the end of the day, we're doing this job for the people and for the love of tattooing. This isn't
Yeah.
like a job where I just feel like tattooing today. Like, no, dude, you have to be in it 1,000%. And it's like God, it's so good for your soul. So it's just, you know,
Yeah, and there are
you have
days like,
to.
we're talking about the positive parts, but there are days when it's like, you get a message from a client or you see something come I don't know, you get, like, an experience with someone that, like, tears you up because it is a permanent thing you're putting on someone and it's your art, and so when you get negative feedback, it, like, wrecks your fucking soul.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. Especially with ADHD, I have to contemplate on it for like 2 days and be heartbroken. And it's like, you see me smiling, and on the inside, I'm like, oh, that fucking tattoo. Oh my
I
God.
wanna
They
cry in
weren't
the
really happy
bathroom.
with it. And it's like, ah. And
I
sometimes I do cry in the
know.
bathroom, but that's just
Yeah. And sometimes it's hard, like, skin is skin, and it's not just
skin is
us, it's
skin,
clients
dude,
too, so sometimes they leave, and I'm like, "I don't know what you do in your free time."
Yeah, I've done, like, perfect ass tattoos where I'll take the picture and I'm like, "Fuck yeah," and I look at it later, I'm like, "Fuck yeah, I'm so proud of that," and they come back and it's like, "Yo!" And they're
What
like,
did
"Yeah,
you do?
sorry, I scratched it and the scab, like, went flying and blah, blah, blah," and it's like
I know.
but,
One that, like, my cat licked it.
it's like, "Oh,
No,
gross!"
no. Or like, do what's, "Can we touch this up?" And then you look at
Yeah.
it and you go, "Oh, that's infected.
Mhm. And it's like,
My cat
"Wait,
licked it. Oh, well."
like,
I
I don't
know.
know, like, scratch fever, ever heard of, like, like"
I know. So
Ah,
hard. And
it
then you,
is
like,
hard.
I just always hope that the clients know us well enough to know where we're coming from, and so
Mhm.
they're not like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
"Why'd
yeah,
you do this to me?" You know?
yeah.
Like, have some like, I want you to be happy, I want you to have the best
Mhm.
experience, I don't want you to
Yeah.
be have anything negative
Yeah,
happen to
and,
you.
that's where it's like, connect with your clients, talk to them. Don't just be a weirdo, like okay, set the expectations either. If you're a more quiet tattooer, let them know, "Hey, I won't be super chatty, but if you need anything, like, let me know." I feel like that makes sense. But if you are
Yeah,
chatty, getting to know them, setting your boundaries and their boundaries, and letting you know if they have any issues, ask about any issues, ask if they have are on any medications, if you notice anything, just get to know the person and
yeah.
also their habits. Because if like it's like, oh, I have a few clients that are pickers. They know,
Mm.
and, they like to think I don't know. I can tell, and they'll just, go at it. So I'm like, "Okay, here's Derm Shield, this beautiful second skin. I'm gonna help you out with this. This is what we're gonna do for you." And,
So
test
they
it out
say
for
have
a
a few
day. Yeah,
days to
I'm so
be
grateful for it.
unpicked. Yeah, and we can always do a touch up. I
Yeah,
always
I
am
always do a
like,
touch up.
listen, I'd rather, especially when it comes to fine line, I would rather
Yes.
you have fallout and we have to touch that up than a blowout, and I can't fix that.
It's like, ugh, cover up time. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I
And I
have
try to
the
be
same
transparent
thing.
about that too. Like, yeah, fingers are the one that's hard though.
Yeah, and I mean that I'm glad you're touching up on touch-ups because then fine line, that's just the nature of the beast. Everybody's skin is different and touch-ups are just part of our everyday lives. Um, I feel like with that, I do take that into consideration with like my prices and buying my supplies and stuff. It's like just have like an extra needle for that, fine line tattoo you're doing, like the extra needles, because you might need to. You never know what to expect. That's the thing with
Definitely.
tattoos. And I mean, that's not to be said only about fine line. I've had tattoos where it's like, oh shit, like this needs a touch up because of this, and it's all traditional. So it's not
It's a
necessarily
big
just fine
color
line.
piece. It's a
Yeah.
lot of skin being worked. Like, it's
Hmm.
normal for there to be some color, maybe some fallout.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Skin is skin. What
skin
do
is
you think?
skin.
Because I know fine line's your style, so do you, if you wanna share, you don't have
Mm,
to, do you have tips for people who are trying to do fine line to make them heal the best they can?
yeah. I mean, so it's moisturize before, moisturize after, So one thing I've noticed is I've been experimenting with like, hey, like try to drink like a good amount of water. Don't drink like the night before, with my regulars, like seeing what's a little healthier for the skin. And something that I've noticed like helps is just, yeah, no drinking for like 48 hours prior really helps out for it. That way also they're not bleeding buckets of blood the whole time and then, oh
Mhm.
no. Um, yeah. Don't pick, do not be a picker. Not with fine line, you do not want to be a picker or ever. Um, yeah, just
Do
don't
you feel
go
like running your machine faster or slower helps you?
it depends. I use a lot of machines, honestly. I'm really
Right.
bad about that. I hoard machines, so I have like 14 and I traditionally use 4 or 5 when I'm tattooing 'cause
Wow.
yeah, but I'm usually like, okay, this needle is going to do this, this is going to be for that. So, always assigning. It's like, okay, this machine has this mission today. This one has this mission today. This one's the shader today. And just
Mhm.
always having that and I don't know, man.
Are you using coils?
I use everything. I use a
Okay.
pen, I use a coil, I use a fucking rotary. I use mainly rotaries, but that's because I just for a while I was working with uh this tattooer that was getting machines from a cool machine builder in uh Leeds. I don't know where that is. UK? Somewhere in the United Kingdom.
Cool.
And
Cool.
so I just got quite the amount of rotary machines from Rotary Works, but I'll use that. I'll use shag builds, that hits like a coil, but also coils, taco machines, there's don't be afraid to, try out your thing, have all your tools. I use all of it. Who cares if someone
Mhm.
calls it a dildo machine? It's getting the fucking work done and it's doing it right, you know?
It's super helpful for conventions when you're trying to
Yes, yes, yes.
travel and
Yeah, I'm
whatnot.
starting to kind of switch over to doing cartridges, like using cartridges whenever we're at conventions and stuff like that, because uh, the weight of the
Travel a lot lighter.
tubes is quite the price to pay.
It is,
But
yeah, or
it's
even if you're, like, guesting, because 'cause I'm starting to guest more, so, like, if
oh,
I'm
rad, hell yeah.
driving or flying, I'm like, "I don't wanna fill my car with needles," and then, like, have
Yeah.
to leave them in the car. Hopefully, your ink doesn't explode in the flight, like
No, and it might when you
and it
open
might
it,
probably
but
will. There's a way to wrap them, though. I feel like that's something that
I
mentors are
found a
there
trick.
for.
I found a trick. So a great way to wrap them. If you take a glove and you take like just cut off the finger parts and slip them over the ink bottles and then wrap them with the saran wrap. For whatever reason, the pressure doesn't change. Oh, okay. Now
I've
this is
also
just
heard
trying out
taking
though.
the lid off, then slipping plastic or glove, and then putting the lid back on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's the trick. We had a guest come and she, like, got off her flight and then, like, came and then had a tattoo. It was quick.
Whoa.
And I saw her come in with a bag. It was like a Ziploc bag and it was just ink bottles of ink and then just ink in the back. And I was like, "Hey,
No.
so why don't you use my ink
Yeah.
so you don't have to fish your stuff out of that bag right now while your client's in the lobby?" And they were like, "Oh my god."
I am grateful that we have a supply store in town that's great that we
Oh
can
my
go
god,
to.
yeah.
Yeah, I love Republic. Love you guys. But
I know.
yeah.
Yes. I need to go actually and buy some bread now that we're talking about it,
They're
'cause I can always
wonderful.
miss the freaking truck, or they don't have what I need. So,
No. Dude, that's just
um,
the reality of these trades and all this stuff that's happening in the world. I keep thinking about that. I work with half the people I work with know how to make needles, so I'm gonna start
love.
learning and like just learn how to solder them together because I'm like, oh shit.
Honestly, if someone would host a workshop, I know many people who would sign up to learn.
Yeah. It's incredible. A lot of us are feeling that way now. And for whatever reason, in the early 2000s, I feel like a lot of people were so intrigued by just getting into the newer like technology. And a lot of us are
Yeah.
now like, no, like, let's do needle and bar. Teach me how to do
Well, we're
needle and
gonna lose
bar.
it.
That
Like,
right? That's what I'm saying. It's like, well, it's the end of the world. I might as well know how to make it from scratch. And
yeah. Yes.
machine
Yes. I
building, I
think
feel like coil machine building classes would be so, so awesome for like newer tattooers as well. So, in
definitely
case when the day comes and we can't get stuff shipped or anything, if that happens, be ready to just make your coil machines.
learn how to
It's a
solder some stuff.
really fun
Corey
process.
Rogers hosts workshops sometimes, and he's, like, in
Ah,
Jollyville, like, my house too, if you're familiar.
so
Um,
cool. Yeah, I need to go.
yeah.
Their shop, I grew up right behind their shop. It's so crazy. I lived off Palm
When
Springs for like 15 years and then I don't know where they show up and it's like, how cool. I used to
we lived next
buy
to a
like
legend, you're like,
right? It's like, dang, dude.
"I know." I went
Like
and
I
applied
remember when I was
there, he, like,
really?
looked through my portfolio. Yeah, when I, like, first was starting. Understandably, I did not get hired. Honestly, I mean, I'm that it made sense.
I love where you're
And
at.
they
I think it's a
they
cool place for your style. We're always gonna be moving around shops, so this isn't your last stop. I know this isn't my
no,
last
it's
stop
okay.
either. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I'd love
But
to, like, learn from him if he would host more. I'd love to buy a machine, it'd be cool to go in person and, like, talk about that stuff too. He's a
yeah,
busy
I'll
man.
ask, dude. I mean, so there are people get tattooed at our shop, so I'm curious. I'm gonna ask them. His girlfriend's actually we talk every now and then, and she's really cool. So I need to go over. I haven't had the chance to, honestly. Just been busy. I don't know
Yeah.
why. I started working at the shop, dude, and it's just like the expectations went from like here to like here kind of just
Yeah.
naturally, and I'm like, "Oh shit." So it's been like every day trying to grow, and I
Hustle.
my coworkers are my inspiration. My coworkers, my clients, I'm working on Flash right now that's just entirely inspired by my clients. I'm so excited
Oh.
for it because it's like, okay, this thing that people love for me, I need to appreciate it more because I took
Yeah.
like some botanical stuff for granted for a little bit, honestly,
Hmm.
because I worked around a bunch of tough dudes and I'm like, I want to do traditional. And yeah, no, I'm really happy with what I'm doing. So I'm gonna just go ahead and, hone in on that craft. So yeah, I've been
Well,
taking
good for you.
workshops with Chuco Moreno. He hosts like workshops online as well. If you're in the fine line world, it's important to kind of find these fine line artists and keep doing those classes. Um But machine
Mhm.
building from Corey Rogers would also be sick.
Would
'Cause,
hit for sure. Platinum sometimes or not platinum, scratch that. Pigment hosts free workshops couple times a
yeah.
year. I've learned a lot from the just
From
going
Jeremy?
Danny
That's
Elliott.
cool.
Yeah, I
Oh,
love Jeremy. He don't host
yeah.
them, but he has the people that come in, and usually it's people who are practicing like they're
Mhm.
teaching, so they do it for free. So we had
Oh,
like
cool.
Danny Elliott, crazy color guy if you follow him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And originally self-taught, which is like incredibly impressive for the caliber he
That's
does, and
so
he's so
awesome.
intentional. He has a photography studio in his tattoo shop, so if he's
Mm.
doing portraits of people, he'll have them come in and he'll take his own photos, and then the client gets these photos and he uses them for the tattoo.
Oh, my friends at
He's
Royal
incredible.
Legion have that situation going, and it's the coolest thing ever. Oh my god. Have
It's
you
just
been there?
so, like, beautiful. I haven't been. I love this
Oh,
process, though. So cool.
yes. Yeah, Royal
They also
Legion's
have
so
Lefty
cool.
out of Waco. You wanna talk about, like, a black and gray
Yeah, yeah,
realism
yeah.
guy, freaking tattooing, Snoop
Fuck
Dogg, like, so
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
cool.
Hey y'all, I'm Sarah, founder of Mind Your Ink, a booking platform built specifically for tattoo artists. As a client, I watched artists I love struggle and get overwhelmed managing their appointment requests. So, I built something that actually works for y'all, not against you. Artists using it say they finally feel on top of their books instead of playing catch up. If you're ready to upgrade your booking flow, get a month free with code BREAKINGSKIN at mindyourinc.com/breakingskin. We're here to take care of the booking chaos so you can spend your energy where it matters most.
Okay, back in my questions. Okay, for you as a
Mhm.
tattoo
Mhm.
artist, did you have a moment where you were like, "Damn, I'm a tattoo artist, like, I'm meant for this career?"
Yeah, I did actually. Um, with my first tattoo. I tattooed my friend and it was like, "Oh my god, this makes sense. This is it. I'm a tattooer, I'm gonna do this. This is the most correct, awesome thing that I've like encountered in my life, and it feels like what I need to be doing." And it still feels
Mhm.
that way. So I'll do some tattoos where it's like, it's not even something I normally will do, and then it's just like, fuck yeah. And then afterwards they leave and it's like, "Oh, my there he goes. Go out into the world." Right? It's so beautiful. Dude, we tattooed someone from Luxembourg the other day, and it was just like, you have a tattoo in Luxembourg now. You have another one in Germany. You have this one here, and it's just so cool. And I think that's what made it click for me was like, I've shared art with the world my whole life, but never to this extent where it's walking around and it's on living, breathing skin. And
So
there's just
personal.
right? It's so personal, it's so awesome, and this person gets to say, like, "Dude, Kale did this tattoo, like, that's so fucking cool," like, and then that name gets brought up where you're at, and it's just so amazing.
Yeah.
It's the
There's
human
something about
connection for me.
finishing that first tattoo for you that I was like that you were like, "This is gonna go
Yeah,
into the world," and then you're like, I am that
I made
girl.
it.
I'm that bitch. I did that."
Right? It's like, "Oh my god, I did that." Like, of all the art that I've done in my life, this level of art just transcends, like, just a medium that's just a non-living situation. It's a spiritual, thing. Like, tattooing
Definitely.
is truly a spiritual thing. It's amazing, but I
You
think that's
swap
what
so much
I'm
life.
making it. Yeah.
You swap life, you swap blood, you swap energy, you swap, like,
Yes.
stories and
Oh, yeah,
things with
dude.
people, and they really
Yeah.
do go out in the world. When we were in I went to Barcelona in November to get a
Oh,
tattoo and hang out
amazing.
for a
At
little
Chica
bit,
Pantera,
and
or where'd you go?
we were just all around Barcelona, like, that's
Fuck yeah.
as we just popped around. We tried to do, like, as many parts of the city as we could and enjoy, but I went to, Last Minute Tattooer. I don't know if you've seen him. Oriole is his name, but he does, like, traditional. His pigment, I don't know, this man's magic. But we were waiting for the subway, and I get home that night, and I or, like, the train, we get home that night, and I get a message on Instagram, and someone took a picture of me in the subway and was like, "Hi, this is you in Barcelona. I recognized you. I got tattooed by you in Austin, like, 2 years ago."
Oh
And
my
I wanted to stop and say
god!
hi, but I was on the train, like, I couldn't get off,
Oh my
and I was like,
goodness.
and then I said it to my mom, and she was like, "I think you have a stalker." And I was like, "I don't, I
It's like,
don't
"No,
think
mom,
that's
you don't
true at
understand.
all."
It's a tattoo thing, you know?"
Yeah, I was like, "I think I had a client who lived in
Oh,
Austin who
Kill, that's
relocated, and
so
I think that's what happened."
cool. How
So,
awesome, dude. See, it's those moments. I live for those moments, dude. When it's like that, oh man, that later down the line gratification of like, I don't know.
give
It's
it
just
10
it's
more
magical.
years, you're gonna be tattooing your clients' kids. I feel like that's gonna hit
Dude,
everybody.
which is crazy. It's now happening to me where I'm tattooing like my coworkers' kids because it's more of
Yeah,
like the fine line style. It's more popular with the younger crowd, and
for sure.
it's amazing. Or I'm tattooing like I mean I've only been tattooing 7 years, but let's say I tattooed someone the first year of tattooing. They brought their kid. This kid's like 14. I'm tattooing their kids now, dude.
Mhm.
It's insane, and you're
You see
helping.
people grow up.
Dude, yeah, you're essentially involved in their, like, childhood a little bit, you know? I There's this gal I tattooed that, I've been seeing her since I'm specifically talking about one of my clients. She was 12 when she first started coming around. Now she's
Mhm.
like a full-grown adult, and it's incredible. She gets tattooed with her dad, and I would see her come into the shop when I was apprenticing as a little kid, and it's like, "Oh, hey," like, "Aw, so cute." It's like,
We grew up, yeah.
dude, yeah, now she's like this badass, amazing, wonderful woman that's, like, truly finding herself. Yeah, just you don't realize that you become a role model for these gals, you know? All these
Absolutely.
kids, boys, all of
For
them,
sure.
everybody, you're kind of their role model because for a lot of those kids, you're the cool parent, man. Like, you're the yeah, like, their parents come to see you, but you're like, you're cooler, and
Maybe show them a different form of life that,
yeah,
like, they
that.
kinda can see themselves in that
Yeah.
freedom that you're living.
Yeah, and especially, like, we were talking about, like, kids that you notice a little bit of differences in where it's like, you I know you have an attention thing, like, I can tell. You can always tell. Like, if you have some type of, like, attention situation, you can always tell when someone else does as well. It's like,
A little
we get
something, something.
along really well.
No, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a little girl we just did a pop-up event at, Just Your King Brewery, and there
So
was, like,
cool.
a it was so fun. It was for their anniversary party or no,
Aw.
it was for Doomforge,
Mhm.
and, there was a little girl, and she had been, like, 4, and she was
Aw.
just, like, standing in the door watching us, which it was, like, 4 or 5 women tattooing together, and then her dad was like, "Do you wanna go look?" And we, like, let her come in, and she, like, runs up to me and is like, "Can I have a tattoo?" And I was like, "No, no, you cannot, but you surely can look." And she just was, like, so just, like, mesmerized by us working. And I was like, "You can do this too." And her dad thought I meant, like, get a tattoo, but I was like, "No, you too can be a tattoo artist when you grow up. Like,
Yes,
let this be
yes, that's what I'm talking
your
about.
pivotal moment that you think about for the rest of your life that, like, drives you to get an
Mhm.
apprenticeship."
Mhm. Dude, and I feel that when I was 10, 11, I walked into True Blue Tattoo. I don't know if it's still around on 6th Street, but
It's still there.
hell yeah. I, uh, I went there with my cousin a long time ago, obviously. I was 10 at the time. I'm 32 now. Something changed. Like,
Mm.
and there was a girl tattooing there at the time that I was like, "Oh, she's really fucking cool." And it's like everybody there was really fucking cool. You know what I did right after that? I went home and watched Miami Ink. And then I started watching all those shows, and I was like, "Holy shit, I'm gonna get
I
a
love
bunch of
this.
tattoos." My mom was like, "Nah, whatever, dude. Like,
No, you're gonna
yeah,
grow out of this.
yeah. This is just you're just gonna be drawing on yourself. This is a phase." Like, I never stopped drawing on myself, and then the moment came to get a tattoo, and it's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get
I'm
fucking
doing
tattoos."
it.
It was great. Then I got
Absolutely.
tattooed by Mark Deal at a classic tattoo. Was my first traditional tattoo, my first like real tattoo. Cause I had a couple where it was just like,
Yeah.
went to someone's house or like, my friend's guy that she was seeing or whatever. Yeah, were not very great. But
It's your first, like, big girl tattoo.
yeah, my first big girl tattoo was a classic tattoo by Mark Deal, and it was it was life changing. I mean, we didn't talk too much, but even then, it was just that moment where it's like, "Fuck yeah, dude. Okay, I see now."
Yeah. And
After that,
you'll
yeah,
never forget it,
I'll never
which is
forget
great.
it, yeah, and then I walked into Black Dagger after that, and I got tattooed there for, like, 4 or 5 years, dude, and it was amazing, and I'm so grateful for all those artists.
We have lots of
DC,
artists, I feel
Eric,
like,
AJ,
that
all
stick
yeah,
with us. Yeah,
mhm.
for a long time. Do you have any clients that have, like, stuck with you that you think about often?
Yeah, yeah, I have quite a few. It's actually, I got very lucky because I love Colorado so much. I'd love to move there one day. It's way too
Mm,
expensive right now, obviously, but
yeah.
one day would be amazing. And I go up there at least once a year. We're trying to guest spot there once a year now, and I'll go to dedication. And I got very lucky that some of my clients they moved there, and
Mm,
now I just have people there. Um, it's awesome. A lot of the people that I tattoo, I have clients in Chicago that moved there because, stuff changed in Austin and shit changed. They have to, get healthcare in other states. So they just moved there, Oregon, anywhere else.
yeah.
And they'll fucking fly out and get tattooed by me, dude. And that type of like, oh my God, that is amazing. Like the gratitude it brings me, I'm so grateful for it. It's insane. I love them so much. And so they'll come down and I don't care what the fuck I'm doing. I'll just clear my schedule. It's like, dude, come on down. Like you're my world. You're we're creating this and you're taking it over to this other state and you're going around and it's awesome. And luckily my clients in Chicago get tattooed at 6 shops over there as well. So it's like, yay!
I
So
love
good.
that. I think
So
about
good.
that often, like, there are clients that we think about, like, I'll be going to bed at
Yeah.
night and I'll be like, "I wonder how they are."
Yeah, dude, I have a couple clients, to be specific, 3 that are getting to, like, an end of their life situation with their, either disabilities or conditions they're in. You really have to be strong for these people, but, there's some times where I just break down thinking about them, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I have one that I hold so close and dear to my heart that I'm like, it might be 6 more months. And I'm like, "Fuck, dude," like, one of
They
the
don't realize
most
how much they mean to you.
yeah, he's one of the most genuine, beautiful people, like, my husband and I have ever met, and it's just like, "Ugh."
Life.
I know, and then you're like, "Ah," but, you get your intrusive thoughts of like, "But Machine Gun Kelly's right there," or like, "Ah," and it's like, "Okay, stop it. No, we're not doing that." But
I know.
Ugh, so yeah, that's another thing about it where it's just yeah,
You grow
and
to,
I
like, have so much care for these people. It's you're not
yeah.
just their artist at some point.
One of the craziest was, I've it's happened to me twice where, I've been emailed like, "Hey, you recognize this tattoo? This person has been in an accident." And,
Whoa!
unfortunately, yeah, they passed away, and so there's been 2 situations like that before
How do they
where
find
it
you?
helps, like, identify I think they're friends, I don't know, people they were with or what, like, is this them? I don't know, it happened with, my coworker and I were tattooing somebody at the time, and then, yeah, they just called to see if we could identify who it was, if it was them.
I wonder if, like, there was, like, the police department reached out to identify.
I don't know. I just helped them out, but it was still
Yeah,
like,
because I wonder if they, like, send it to big shops in
oh,
the area. That would make sense to, like, be like, "Do you recognize?" If they send it to,
yeah.
like, the top 6 or something.
And I had this like Disney tattoo a while back too, where someone like messaged me and it's like, "Hey, this was done by you, right?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh man, it was my friends, and this happened, whatever, heartbreaking."
Definitely.
And then I'll have to replicate the tattoo on them, and it's like, ah,
Mm.
the whole
And you're
time my
like,
heart's just like,
"No."
ah, you know, we deal with
That's what
death,
therapy.
yes, but we deal with death so much more than like people realize, you know?
Death,
You think
life.
about that? Like, dude, there's so many memorial tattoos, so many paw prints, so many like
Oh my goodness,
things.
pets? Yeah.
Yeah, oh, the pets. Oh my, you saw my cats, dude. I fucking love my animals so much. I can't imagine. I
I know. I had a
that
client yesterday specifically. We started this chess piece for her, and I adore her. She is so sweet, like
Oh,
cute young goth. Love her.
yeah.
Um, Killer chess piece started the line work. Her cat went missing like the next week. And that was like a
Oh.
year ago. So it's this tattoo has been associated with this experience for almost a
Mm.
year. And so finishing it yesterday was kind of like ending this chapter and like being ready
Yeah.
to like
Oh.
not forget about it. They're still looking, but like to be like, all right, like we're moving on with life now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
Which is
dude.
beautiful.
The
It's
tattoo
like
journey. Yes.
I know it's like they are they're like little bookmarks, little chapters, timestamps
Mhm. Yeah.
that we live with.
But
Do you
yeah,
have any, colleagues that have, like, specifically changed like, a person or a mentor that specifically has, like, changed the way that you think about the way that you work?
everybody at Great Wave Tattoo. I work with these artists, man, that are just, oh my god, they're so insane. I love it. James Yoakum, his morphs are otherworldly, you have Jason Brooks doing some of the large scale traditional stuff that's just like, oh, it's so awesome. I have Marcelo. Oh my god, Marcelo at my shop. His neo traditional is so awesome. And then you have like Bart Bingham that comes from the background of just being an overall fucking phenomenal tattooer. Like he worked with Chris Garver under him at New York Adorned, and I get to work with David Parker, who, he's like he knows about comics and how to draw them, and it's just Raleigh as well from Washington. My coworkers are a huge inspiration because I'm working with artists that have been tattooing, some of them for, oh God, 20 years, 18 years. 32 years for my boss, 33 years for my boss, it's like a year before I was born. That's
Truly, yeah, the
awesome.
length of your life, which is incredible. Gives you
Yes,
so
and
much.
so them explaining like, "Hey, this is how it's gonna look in the long run," just as a heads up, has changed my shit like crazy. And that's important to work with, like, some old heads at least every now and then, because they'll teach you what you need to
I
know.
love that. I
Yeah,
do think that you learn so much
yeah,
about
and I mean,
how
I've
the industry
watched.
used to be and
Mhm. Yeah, and
how
I
things
mean, I've relearned a lot of things just working under them because my apprenticeship was kind of like not necessarily tainted by politics, but yeah, it was tainted by politics. So there were some moments where it was like just going off on like crazy usual Texas right wing stuff, and I'm just sitting there like, great. So now that I work at a place where it's not toxic like that, oh man, it's awesome.
yeah, you don't have to, like, feel like
No, we
you're in
just
a
talk about
space where
art.
people don't want you,
Mhm.
like, they don't I think sometimes people don't realize when they share views like that, the people they're talking about are in the room,
Mhm. Yeah,
or
and
it's
I
their
mean,
clients, and they don't even realize.
yes, yes. And, it's up to us to put a stop to that too with clients because it's so easy for everybody to like talk about politics and everything. And I'm guilty of if it's politics that I'm interested in and they're like, oh, so and so. I'm like, yeah. And it's like, okay, calm down. Like, don't go too over it.
Yeah, no, I certainly share my views on my Instagram, so I feel like
Yeah. Oh,
people
me
know the
too.
vibe
Yeah,
when they
people
come
know.
in, like
Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, people should
I've had
know.
one moment with a client where they were, like, kind of get they were starting to get into, like, a pro-Trump thing, and I was like, "Keep your fucking voice down in this here studio. Don't talk too loud. Let me tell you something."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You have to like put them in their place, and it's like, okay, dude,
He's
like,
young, so I'm like, "I think you just need to know
yeah, some people just
what's
don't
happening."
know. One thing we noticed is like, as I was driving through Colorado recently, it was like, holy shit, all these people like in these speed trap towns are in a bubble. Like this is all they know.
Literally.
They've never been
It's
exposed to
true.
anything else. All they see is like stuff on TV or something like they've some of them now, they've never seen a trans person in their lives. So all they see is
Literally.
like the stuff on the internet and they don't know any Mexicans. They don't know people of other countries, and it's like
It's true. And
they have to be
unfortunately,
exposed. Yeah,
like, even
unfortunately, yeah.
tattoo artists that you think are gonna be safe, and sometimes they aren't. I experienced that in starting this podcast. There's um, basically told me if there's trans women that she won't participate. So,
That's
yeah, I was shocked because that is not the face that she it was really weird because they made me come in person to do this, and I was like,
I'm so sorry. I'm
"What do
sorry
you
you
want
were
me to
put in
say?
an
What do you want
uncomfortable
me to say
position.
about
Like,
that?"
what
Like,
is that? Why would you even do that? Like,
because they don't want it on the internet. They don't wanna put that in writing. You don't wanna put that in writing and put that on the internet
how dare you
because
support a
then I'm
human
gonna
being,
post it.
Kale? How dare you?
I know, what the hell?
It's so
So
wow,
that
that's
was
very
wild.
punk rock of you, that's for sure.
Do you have any points that maybe we didn't cover today that you wanna share with people or something that's on your heart?
I mean, truthfully, we need an ego check a little bit in the industry. If that's like a recommendation I can have, is we gotta all remember we're tattooers and like also like as much as we want to share our art and I was like, yeah, like, let people know what you do. Accommodate to the client as well. There's a mutual respect that's gotta be there. And don't be afraid to be the girl that sets boundaries. And if you come off as a bitch or a mean girl, who fucking cares? At the end of the day, you're protecting yourself, and that's important as well. I have had quite a bit of DMs that are so uncomfortable. Oof, where I had to put like no DMs on my bio at a point because it was ridiculous between the porn accounts and the freaking sick dudes and the dick pics and the hey, like so like if you're a girl tattooer, you do discounts for men for any other trades and just weird shit like that. Ridiculous.
I'm like,
So
"Where are you finding me for
yeah,
this?" But
so
yeah,
these
you if you gotta lay down the law, lay down
I'm
the law.
telling you, dude, call them out if you want to. Fucking post them on your story. Who cares? Like, fuck those guys. People need to be checked. People need to be, like, respectful, man. It's not that hard to just simply respect another human being. Um,
Yeah, it's wild that people think that
yeah,
they can just say things. I think with social media, whether it's positive or negative, it's easy to see tattoo artists as not real people until you meet them in person. It's just a
that,
social media
that.
page.
And that's what's crazy is, like, online, I appear as, like, a completely different person, I'm sure. And I'm like, I'm just some girl, you know? I'm just a girl that knows a few things.
I go home
And
and hold my breath at night, like, that's it.
like, come just approach me normal. I'm just a person. I'm just a person like you. And you're just a person as
Definitely.
well. So don't be afraid to speak up. Don't be afraid to, tell me how you feel about this design or what you're doing or, who you are. I don't care, dude. Like unless it's like hurting me or someone else in the shop, be yourself. But
Hell yeah.
the thing is, one thing I do want to touch on is how the industry right now is so slow. And
Mm,
it is picking up a little bit because people are kind of getting better at budgeting. But do not stop marketing yourself. I've fallen into this hole every now and then, or I fall into this hole every now and then where I just don't post. And it's like, what's the point? I fight social media all the time where I'm like, nothing's being seen, nothing's being liked, nobody like sees my stuff, and I have thousands of followers. I don't get it. Um, don't give up. Just keep advertising yourself. Invest in your ads, put shirts out there, even if it's like the cheapest shit you can find, at least for people to wear, make stickers. Um, Word of mouth is the most important. So word of mouth will go a long way. I have never made a t-shirt. I've never had a t-shirt in the 7 years of tattooing. And a lot of my clientele is like stickers and word of mouth. Granted, I was in some financial stuff before where I'm just now paying off a lot of crazy stuff with taxes and immigration. So
That's so fair.
yeah,
That's fair.
yeah. But
I hear
yeah,
you.
definitely keep marketing yourself, keep making things, don't give up on being an artist. I know it's hard and tattooing's not as popular as it used to be and people can't afford them, but don't lose that part of yourself. Like there's nothing worse than like killing your creativity. What's the point at that point,
Absolutely.
you know?
For sure. Well, thank you for sharing all this information with me. I feel like we could talk all day.
Yeah, I
But
think so
where
too.
can for sure. There's so many topics I feel like we're just scratching the surface. But is there anywhere that people can find you and support you or check out what you're working on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Instagram is Luisa Marigold. And yeah, Luisa.marigold at yahoo.com. Swing by even if you want to get an estimate, whatever. I have Flash always. Or if you want to just chat, like, I don't care either. I have people that just
Oh
come
yeah.
hang out every now and then. I have clients that are like, you know what, dude? I'm gonna stop by and just hang out for 5 minutes. I love that. Just come by, come kick it, come check out the shop. We have a museum of a shop. Come look at the stuff and pick up a shirt if you want or don't. I don't care. Your presence is appreciated.
I'll come stop
Um,
by and say, hey, I haven't been in the shop,
yeah, dude, I'll
so
give you a print.
yeah.
Come by, grab
Oh
a
yeah.
print.
That's
It's
fun.
yeah. So just yeah, but I'm not scary at all. Just say
Love
hi.
it. Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time.
Of
Are you
course.
tattooing today?
No, I'm not tattooing today. I'm off today, so I gotta go run a bunch of errands and
Yeah.
get more arches paper and whatnot because I'm putting that flash out soon. I can't wait.
Yay! Yay.
Ah, I'm so ready. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for your time. Enjoy your
Of
day, and
course.
I look forward to seeing you around.
Likewise. Hopefully we can do this again in the future. Fun.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Kale. I
Thank
wish you all the
you.
luck.
Oh, you too.
Thanks,
Bye.
girl. Bye.
Today's episode was completely edited, recorded, and produced by Cale Pearson. The music was mixed and edited by Dominique Gopal. You can find us on social media at Breaking Skin Pod. For more information, check out our website, breakingskinpod.com. You can find my social media at kale.tattoos. That's spelled Kail. To check out more of my work, visit kaletattoos.com. For more information on today's guests, you can find their social media in the show notes. Please come hang out every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Central Time for another episode of the Breaking Skin Pod. Thank you all for listening and hanging out. We really appreciate the support. Can't wait to see you next week. Cheers.